Second? All in favor? Aye. Town manager's report on the community senior center project.
The two bathrooms by the ramp have been hooked up to the sanitary piping, and they're just working on the bathrooms itself, waiting for some tile to come in to wrap that up. So hopefully those bathrooms will be working by the end of the month, week away. Then also the back ramp, they finally got the railings ordered in, and they installed them about a week ago. So the railing and the back and the lighting that was necessary for the, I think it was the fire marshal required, is installed. So now the game room can use that as an emergency exit to go out because of the lighting and the railing. But we can't use the game room until our bathrooms are open. And then the last one relates to Gina. I guess we had a health district come in, and they recommended or requiring us to put a sink in where the cafe is for people to wash their hands was their main reason. So we'll be installing that over the next couple weeks. And other than that, I think it's pretty much almost finished.
Excellent. Any questions, Mimi?
No.
Me either. Okay. Moving on to the senior services update. Gina.
Good evening. This was the first issue of a double month compass, January, February. Hearing a good response from it. We currently have 867 members. We are having our fitness center open house on Wednesday. We've been open since November. Our lunch program is getting an average of 40 people a day, which is very good. We did raise the non-member rate to $10 so that we are not subsidizing that lunch program for people that aren't members. Our cafe is doing wonderful, or wonderfully. We received, since we opened it in October, we received 14 $50 donations from different participants. And that helps cover the cost of the coffee and the cups. We added hot chocolate for the winter, and that's been very popular. We also collect an average of $10 a day from donations from people having the coffee. So it's been a really nice focal point. People feel welcome coming in, and we've got wonderful volunteers working it, so it's been good. In the health arena, we helped coordinate the COVID booster shots. Our office called everyone who had a shot initially with the town. We only had about 24 people, I believe, that needed their booster, but that was done last week. We are also beginning hearing screening in the month of March, so we just set that up. The new programs in January that started are all member directed. They all came from suggestions from members, which is really the way we should be doing it. We have chess, cornhole, piano lessons, Tai Chi. Today we had our first class, it went very well. Great courses, so that's going well. Evening programs, we have a tax update tomorrow with 21 people signed up, so the new laws. And we probably will be canceling the Monday night movie starting March and April because we only are getting one person, if that. So that's not really a senior audience. The library has been doing it with us. We began registration for tax assistance, and we're handing out packets. We're going to be doing probably a drop-off type service, a hybrid of some sort. People come in, drop off their information, either go to the cafe or leave the building, come back to pick up their information. Because we weren't sure what was going to happen with COVID, we planned 3 grab-and-goes for this winter. The first one was last week, and it was a make-your-own pizza, and we had 70 people participate with a wait list, and it was really nice. People loved it. Friday, we have a brain booster grab and go, and we have 55 for that. And then beginning of February, we have a chili and cornbread grab and go. And these are sponsored by local businesses. With the game room opening soon, we have been able to secure a donation of a foosball table, and that was brought in today. And later this week, we are getting a 8-foot billiard table, also donated. And I wanted to thank Walt and his park crew for bringing the equipment in for us so that we can enjoy it.
So it's a regular pool table, not bumper?
Yeah, regulation slate. It should be really nice.
So that's gonna be in there permanently, or are you gonna be?
It'll be permanently, yeah, we'll have to decide, once we get in, we'll see where it fits.
Yep.
And then I just wanted to propose, if there is some money with it's an American Rescue Plan, is that the PATA money? That I would like to get some picnic tables for the new concrete pads that we have around the building. There's some around the playground, there's also a nice big patio area between the fitness center and the art studio, and that would encourage the seniors to eat outside, or even families, anyone could be eating outside and social distancing. The cost for one is anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500, depending on if you've got a handicap accessible and an umbrella, and that's with freight and shipping.
And how many are you looking
I'm
at?
proposing, I would like to get 6 if possible.
So you put it on that cement pad between the fitness center and the art room, even though
We
there's.
could put 2 there.
On the sloping? Does it slope down a bit?
It's pretty straight.
Pretty
I
flat?
think it's pretty straight, yeah. And then around, right outside activity room 1, our lunchroom, we could open the doors and people could have a choice of eating outside. It'll also work with the kids that are here for the preschool and for families that are just at the little playground there.
That's all of it.
That's it. I don't have anything else. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so that would be $9,000 for the 6 tables.
Right.
We round up to-
Good math, good math.
Product
Must have been
of
a
Rocky
teacher,
Hill
wait a
School.
minute.
I don't have any questions, I just did want to give a shout out to, even though I know the holidays were a while ago, but the programs that you ran, the Klezmer, Kugel, and the Christmas program, and we have the Chinese New Year's coming up next week. Those are awesome. I'm hearing a lot of feedback from my friends, my constituents, that they're enjoying that and looking forward to more of those, so shout out, they're awesome.
Thank you.
Mimi, do you want to bring that up at the next council meeting?
Sure.
Under the ARP?
Sure.
Because we have that open section?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I
That
will.
way we can discuss it at the next
Thanks.
council meeting.
That would be great.
All right. Update Human Services. Melissa?
Okay, I'm just gonna start with January 1st, moving on and not talk about holiday programs. They were very, very successful, though, in general. We were very busy with servicing a lot of senior programs, which went well. Right
Do you have a lot
now,
of people for the Christmas Eve dinner?
yes,
That's-
75
75?
that we delivered, yep. And Christmas Eve dinners were delivered by EMS and fire department and police department. So I met those 3 specifically. For Thanksgiving, we had some other volunteer groups, but this was all our town volunteers and emergency responders that delivered those meals. So that was wonderful. And it was snowing and all of that, and we were wiping the snow off the boxes that morning. So they did a fantastic job. We are under Lori's section of our department, which is Youth and Family Services. She has her coalition kids working on Valentine's Day cards and little craft things to drop off at the Housing Authority for the seniors that are in. So we're really trying to pick back up at the beginning of the pandemic. We did a lot of letters for love. So those went out, kids created letters, and then we sent them out to homebound seniors. So that had kind of died down, but now with things picking back up again, it has been a relatively cold, icy few weeks. So the weather combined with the COVID numbers, we are trying to get back to a little bit more focused for seniors that are homebound. So the Valentine's Day thing is going on, and I know she's speaking with Gina about some things in March, and maybe some collaborative after the, dance that happened in December. We are also just started up an Instacart account in our department. So that is for seniors struggling with groceries that have, they are able to use food stamp cards if that is the source. It does require a credit card to be put in for the delivery fee, which runs between $5 and $10, but we are able to do that now for a senior who does not have availability to a computer or whatnot, but would like to just help us facilitate getting the order in and placed on the computer so it can be delivered at the home. So we'll see how that goes.
So do you use like Stop and Shop to deliver it, or?
Yeah.
or
Instacart, they can do any store, like they can pick and choose which stores as long as the store offers it. So obviously, we can't do it for the whole town, and that's not necessary. I think it's just for those seniors that aren't, comfortable or fluent with a computer.
Good idea.
But they can call us up and, set up a time on the phone where if they have their grocery list, we can kind of walk through item by item, put their information in. So each account that we do has their address, their information through our account. So it's through the human service account, so we don't have a lot of accounts out there, and hopefully help protect against fraud or putting credit card numbers in if they're not comfortable with computers or don't have access to a secure network. So
Will they be able to communicate with the person doing their shopping? Because let's say you want to have Heinz ketchup and there is none, and they say, do you want us to substitute?
that's a good question. We're just firing this up.
No, I'm just
getting-
wondering,
but you're right.
We used
They
it
do
for about
do that.
6 weeks during the height of the pandemic, we used it.
Yeah, and they do that. They do
Okay.
text. So to be honest with you, Mimi, we'll probably just give the seniors like a heads up that might happen. Are they comfortable? If they're specific about something, we'll just pick up on the other line
Okay,
while
I
we
just
have
wanted to
somebody.
point that
And
out,
I think
yeah.
if that becomes a thing, you're right though. They do that, and it's trial and error. We'll figure it out, but. We are working on a lot of redetermination for seniors, so we have a lot of seniors coming in for their paperwork to be redetermined for SSI, that they have their SSI, their SSDI, Medicaid, Medicare enrollment periods, as well as the redetermination forms for their state benefits if they receive any, so food stamp stuff and any of those. So redetermination slips come for all seniors if you get them, and if you're confused or do not understand them or are overwhelmed, please come in with those forms, because it is not a good idea to ignore them, because benefits can get cut off and get confused or switched or defaulted back to a basic plan, and that may not be what you want to do. So please give us a call if you're not sure, so we can help sort that out. Those are basically our senior focused. Everything else we're addressing on the regular. A lot of home visits are rising up again. A lot of housing issues again, which has been an ongoing national problem, but that is ramping up again
Is
as
that
far as
people losing their housing?
losing housing and needing housing. A lot of the trends right now, specifically for the senior population, I think the ones losing housing is more the middle-aged or working population that were unemployed. As far as senior specific, what we're seeing is a lot of homebound seniors that were home for a year or two, were not, didn't have a lot of communication, socialization, and eyes on. So things in their home that started to go, water damage, things in the home, failing health is, we've seen 2 or 3 cases just since last week, that seniors' health was failing, and without eyes on, they began to fall. People weren't aware of how many falls, and then what's happening now is that when EMS responds, the condition that they are in requires them to immediately go from a fall or what normally would have been a call for help, and then a gradual, we could have immediately gotten in-home care or something. We're past that point, because there wasn't a lot of interaction and a lot of people witnessing what was going on, and they were not seeking the medical help they probably should have been with doctor's appointments. Things haven't been caught at the doctor, so that was a big topic of conversation amongst all the human services departments in the area, because that is a statewide and I'm sure a national trend that everybody is seeing. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of that as well, that once the problem presents, it's way more intense and a much bigger problem than historically it would have been when we were interacting with them on a regular basis. And so specifically tied to housing, the need to go from home to assisted living versus even having an in-home, and now we're in a time crunch, and that assisted living residential placement doesn't exist. They're backlogged. There's waiting lists for housing and to get people in, and so that becomes now an area of concern, because if financially they're not in a place to pay out-of-pocket expense for an in-home caregiver while they're waiting for that transition, that is becoming our number one concern and topic to address with the senior population as far as meeting their needs with housing that's appropriate for their needs.
Do you still get hoarders?
More than we have ever seen.
More?
Yeah. I work with fire department
Yeah,
and
I
health
remember you
district
had a
very
couple
closely.
last month.
We've had,
At apartments.
in the last 6 months, we've had 3 or 4 a month here in town.
Wow.
Mhm. Yep. Which goes hand in hand with mental health issues. It's the same way we're seeing the mental health. There's wait lists everywhere. Outpatient, I mean, specifically for the kids, we're got out in the schools flyers right now trying to do groups for anxiety, and then we'll move on to the older age groups. But because the wait list for individual therapy, Lori and I have wait lists. We're actively, seeing clients, sending referrals out, but referrals are difficult because all therapists and all mental health providers have wait lists. So to send a to ask somebody, we can't see you, and send them out, but they can't get in anywhere. So it's an ongoing issue. Even I just spoke to a couple of outpatient, intensive outpatient programs, which are several times a week, and they have wait lists for several months. I mean, it's becoming a real crisis.
I believe the council approved 2 part-time social workers.
Yes.
Were you able to fill those positions, or?
We posted one.
Okay.
And so far we haven't gotten any responses for that. Part-time is difficult to get. People are looking for full-time, so to
Right.
get qualified people with the degrees and the backgrounds and the experience that we need are not particularly looking for part-time. So
How do we, I guess, we've allocated money, maybe part-time is not the way to go. Is there a outside-the-box approach that we could kind of look at? I mean, do we develop our own, I'm throwing it out and spitballing, but our own group therapy session that's led by whoever's qualified within town, or instead of doing individual? I don't know where you go.
Yeah,
But it's
well,
obviously a
so
problem.
Lori and I are in the middle of, Lori has put out in the schools,
Mhm.
groups that she wants to start for high school. She started with first, then middle school for anxiety groups, because exactly that, we can tackle, at least in a group therapy session, skill set, coping skills and relaxation techniques and different behavioral techniques that we can put out in group settings. So she's tackling that. I'm going to now set up one for adults that we can do. I want to do a adult group and then a senior specific group, so that we can start to address some people that are waiting on the wait list. So in order, to answer your question, we're having a difficult time even finding contractors to come in, although that is something we're looking at the upcoming budget season to have that, if we can find. The problem is you need a licensed therapist. So Lori and I can tackle what we can tackle, but it's the same thing as trying to hire a part-timer. The availability is not there, because with telehealth being so prominent right now, most therapists can work from home, can work on the computer without having to be face-to-face, and so finding them, because of the mental health crisis right now, I mean, we're all just underwater with the pandemic, underwater.
Right, allocating money is not gonna solve the problem if you don't have people available to do the actual
Correct.
therapy.
So to answer your question, a full-time employee is gonna be essential in order to begin to tackle this ongoing.
Right. And then, because I really don't know, how long does this, do you see this problem going on? I mean,
Indefinitely right now,
It's just
because
not
then
gonna-
our numbers are still just, and you know, we've sort of talked about that a lot. The health district talks about it a lot because they come at it from a macro and micro perspective. They talk, you know, the national numbers and the state numbers and the local numbers. And the mental health, like we're always, I hate to say a few steps behind, but where everybody is dealing with the here and now, right? Like we have to close the doors or we can adjust the mental health, what we're seeing, people as they're coming out of their homes, the after effect as they're trying to reintegrate into, so it's, when the mental health component, we're already typically a little delayed from what the real, I don't want to mean real life, that's not a good way to word it, but in the here and now moment where a lot of people are looking at the numbers right now and, you know, are things opening up or the masks are back on, we're sort of dealing with the after effects. So people, for instance, as an example, if you lost employment, you have the stress of the bills in the here and now, but regaining your credit, finding another place to live, paying back credit cards that have now built up, trying to figure out how to get a car back that was repossessed. Like that's a long-term thing. So the same way with mental health, a lot of being locked away for a long period of time, people are having to reintegrate and deal with a lot of loss of loved ones. It's a huge one. A lot of grieving, a lot of lack of help with grieving because of the long mental health wait list. So that's an ongoing issue. So there is no end for us at this point, because as we're all living through this again and the numbers continue to spike, we're still sitting here with masks on. So where this ends and how this ends from a mental health perspective, we're all gonna keep tackling it the best we can. That's the best answer I can give you, but I can't give you any kind of an idea of when it ends, because I'm not sure it's gonna for a long time. But I think a group effort, and we think we do a good job here in town, like really communicating with each other and providing every aspect that we can. I think these meetings help get information out and socialization, and then the other support, and I think that's the best way everybody can tackle it, is a multi-systemic approach to, you know, the more support, the more we're talking to each other and trying to problem solve, the better we're gonna be.
questions?
No.
Just on the human services side?
Yep.
I believe it was December, there was a house fire on Glastonbury Ave.
Yes, there was.
Was 4 families displaced?
Yes.
Did human services get involved in?
Oh, we
in
were
that?
very involved, yep. So we got involved that evening and helped facilitate the hotel rooms for them to stay in. We started that very next morning. We met with the families and worked with the mayor and the town council members that were putting things on social media. We gathered supplies, immediate supplies for them. We helped facilitate, we were the drop-off point for donations and gift cards. We facilitated with each one of the 4 families specific to their needs, helping find housing, clothing, keys to cars, mental health services, screening. We had a couple with PTSD. There were a few minors involved in that as well. So, and we were and still are involved.
Okay.
Yep.
I saw a lot of people were asking, both social media wise and in person,
Mhm.
if they could, at that time, if they were able to help. And
Yep.
the direction was to.
Yep, we had
reach
a
out
lot
to human
of
services.
generous donations that helped get them at least get going with immediate needs, because it's amazing. I mean, we all know when you lose everything, but when you realize like your purse, your ID, your car keys, I mean, everything, your
Right.
children's birth certificate stuff just to lose everything like that right after the holidays was devastating. But our community really stepped up like they always do, and there were a lot of very generous people that were able to step forward and help get them over the hump. So I am happy to report that all 4 families are doing amazingly well and have received a lot of support through their employers, through our community, through the school system, and we're still looking. I'm gonna shamelessly plug. We are still looking for anybody who is aware of in town affordable rents. So I know that Rocky Hill is inundated with apartments. Not all of them are within a lower income price range. And so we do have a family that has a child in the school system. So she would really like to be able to stay in town. All of them would, actually, but that one specifically because of the school system. But they had they all had 2-bedroom units. So for what they were paying, a lot of the other bigger complexes here in town are way out of the price range of what they are able to afford. And so we are looking for anybody who is aware of or has or knows of any 2-bedroom units here in town that are affordable for Rocky Hill. If you could give us a call, we would really greatly appreciate it because we are looking for housing solutions in the next couple of months for a couple of the families.
Anything else on Human Services side?
No.
Okay. Anything for new business?
No.
No?
No.
Anything for audit?
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to
Yes.
adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
But chin up, everybody. I feel